Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon, all you beautiful people. My name is Anastasia Macdonald, and welcome to the Real Daddy God Show. Over here, we're learning to be fathered by God through everyday living. I'm not sure what's happened to the lighting here, but hopefully it will turn around. The Word of God tells us that, in 2 Corinthians 18, I will be a true father to you, and you will be my beloved sons and daughters. And this afternoon, we have a very special edition. I am so excited. A very special edition. So before we get into it, please invite somebody, tag somebody, and share. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be explosive. Hello, Joseph. Hello, Befriending. Hi, Jake. Hi. So, the Real Daddy God Show, we're on live right now, and like I said, it's going to be a very special edition. We have somebody here with me I'm going to introduce in a minute, but today we're going to be discussing, or we're going to be sharing, we're going to be going into the topic in the classroom with Daddy God. Can you imagine?
In the classroom?
Can you imagine being in the class with Daddy God?
Wow.
Well, Psalm 32 verse 8 says, I will instruct you in the way that you should go, and I will counsel you with my loving eye. And this beautiful guest over here, she has been in the classroom of Daddy G. She has been instructed, she has been taught, and she has been guided by the loving eyes of Daddy. She's been through a whole journey of experiences. So this afternoon, we're really going to go vulnerable here. We're not joking. Good afternoon, Grace. Thank you for joining us on Real Daddy God Show. So we're going to be really vulnerable. We're going to be true. We're going to be honest, because we want you to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. No matter what you're going through, Daddy G has got you. Anyway, for those of you who don't know what Daddy G is, that's the pet name for Daddy God. So I'd like to welcome Queen P to the Real Daddy God Show. The Real Daddy, this is Queen P, and I'm going to get her to introduce herself actually, and tell you viewers how we met, how we got together, really. That's it. And why we call ourselves Queen. So I call her Queen Patty. She calls me Queen Anastasia. Yeah, Queen. Yeah, I'll call me Anastasia. Yeah. So please, Queen P, you're very welcome to the Real Daddy God Show. We are so excited.
I'm here.
Yes.
Am I really here?
You are here live on the Real Daddy God Show.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to thank you. I'm in the studio, the Real Daddy God Show studio, live. So this is not no game. I am here. And I want to thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me here. And thank you for walking with me for the past few years. It's been beautiful. And I want to introduce myself. My name is Queen Patty. Queen Patty. And I am here. I am a woman. I am a daughter of a king.
Yay!
I am a mother. I am also a financial analyst. I am a musician and recording artist. I am an actress. And I am a businesswoman. That's who I am.
That's who she is.
That's who I am.
That she's a lot more. But above all this, she's Daddy God's girl.
Daddy G, keeping it real.
Yeah. So Queen P, I've known you for 2 years, and right. We got to meet over the DSA platform. So for those of you who don't know what DSA stands for, there's Dr. Sunday Adelaja. Yeah, somewhere, I don't know whether August in 2016. And do you want to tell them how that happened?
Yes. Wow. Actually, looking back, wow, it's been 2 years.
Yes.
Wow, there's been a lot of changes over the 2 years, and transitions, and a lot of adjustments, but it's been beautiful. I got onto social media, so through Facebook, and I bumped into a live teaching, and I was like, what's that? I was at a phase and stage in my life where I wanted more. I wanted more from from God, from church. I wanted more, and I just felt this is not it. There's more to this. And I bumped into a teaching online, and it was DSA, Dr. Sunday Adelaja, and he was teaching, and he was talking about relationships, men and women, how to live together. I had never heard something like that in my life, and I started to listen. And he was teaching mornings and evenings, 7 o'clock. And I started to listen, and as I listened, there was a comment section, there was a chat section, and you kept putting in the scriptures, you kept putting in the main points. And because I had 2 little children at the time, I didn't have the time to pay attention, fully. And so I kept thinking, I wish someone could just put the points down so that I could at least not miss stuff out. I'd run to the kitchen, I'm cooking, or I'm on my computer doing something. So you did that, and I was like, wow, okay, maybe she's busy, she'll do it and stop. But you were consistently putting the notes and leaving them in the section, and I thought, wow. So one day I thought, no, I need to thank this woman. So I wrote to you and I said, thank you for doing that, because I've got small children and at the time, and I just needed the points written down, and you responded, and it's been a beautiful journey since.
Yes, so that's how we met, kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, and beautiful people. So we met on Dr. Sunday Adelaja, his platform. Dr. Sunday Adelaja, for those of you that don't know him, he's a teacher of all teachers, a mentor of all mentors, a pastor of all pastors, and to me, he is the father of all fathers, even though, he doesn't like us to call him father, but he has a father heart. So that's how we got to meet. So since 2016, a lot has happened in your life. We've had time to talk and converse and chat in the quiet place, and I've just been totally blown away by what has happened to you, how Daddy God has brought you through. So we're going to try to go through some of the points, and I think we're going to have 2 sessions, because this woman let me just read out to you the major transitions and transformations she's been in the classroom with Daddy God. So she's had marriage, divorce, single motherhood, work, regaining her self-confidence, learning to love herself, and something which I absolutely adore, something she calls the VVIP movement. I'm going to allow her to then she's returned to the studio. She's a singer, songwriter, and then she's a plus size model. And Daddy God has been taking her to the unlikely and unlovable people to teach her lessons. So I'm going to read it. So we're going to go through these points: her marriage, divorce, single motherhood, work, regaining self-confidence, something that she calls the VVIP movement.
Yes.
Being a singer, songwriter, plus size modeling, and then befriending the unlikely and the unlovely. So Queen P.
Wow.
We're going to start with the marriage.
Okay.
Please tell us.
Okay.
And, we know that in all what we're sharing here is to point to Daddy God and what he's been doing there. So please tell the viewers, share your story with them concerning your marriage.
I will. At the age of 24, I walked down the aisle, and I got married, and that marriage lasted about 6.5 years,
Right.
almost 7 years, and 2 little girls.
Right.
Out of that marriage, beautiful girls. They look like me.
Like you, they do.
They remind me so much of myself. And basically, that marriage went from the beautiful start, and it went to a toxic point.
Right.
And when it got to the toxic point, I made the decision, the tough call of asking for help and getting counseling. And after a couple of months of that, I made the decision of walking away.
Right.
So I walked away from the marriage.
After how many years?
6.5
6.5 years of marriage.
So 6.5 years of marriage, 2 children out of that marriage, and I walked away.
Right.
And at that point in my life, I was a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
and I was not working. I did not have an income. I was taking care of my children. The first child was born at 5 months of pregnancy.
Right.
And we were in the hospital for 4 months for her to reach full term outside the womb. And then straight away I had the second one.
Right.
So for the next 3.5 years of my life, I was just at home, managing the home and managing the children.
Right.
And so my career was at a stop, and I just focused on the children. And so when this went through, you know, the 6.5 years. So when this marriage came to a toxic end, I had to make a very difficult decision.
Right.
And that decision was to rebuild my life, rebuild my career, rebuild my self-esteem, self-confidence. I had come out of a very difficult relationship.
Right.
And as such, I was broken.
Right.
I was damaged. And I had also caused pain. I had also damaged. And I'm proud to stand and say I was wounded, and I also did wound my former partner. And so when I came out of that, I was smelling of smoke, and it's like coming out of a fire. And I needed help. And so I turned to professional counselors for help. And so this is the chapter about my marriage.
So what would you say were the very, you know, the very destructive things that were in the marriage that maybe you could help other people there, so, you know, not to follow those footsteps?
Yeah, I think what I can share and say, and I stand this not to say anything negative or to downplay my former partner.
I hope you can hear us.
I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, I say this not to downplay my former partner, but I say this out of my experience, and I also take ownership of my mistakes, which is very important, because sometimes after a marriage ends, it's easy to blame the other person.
Yeah, to point the finger.
It's easy to point the finger. It's easy to highlight when you're still in pain. But when the pain has stopped, you get to a point where you have to look at yourself in the mirror. So I'm speaking from a point of looking at myself in the mirror. Something I can say is a mistake I made is I was disrespectful. I was disrespectful because I believed that I needed to be respectful when conditions were right. I thought I needed to be respectful when I was being treated right. But looking back, I look back and realize that you need to maintain your sweetness in bitter waters. You need to maintain your sweetness in bitter waters. So what that means to me, or what I can share to another person, is don't let other people's behavior or the circumstances change who you are.
Wow.
I changed that.
Wow.
I became bitter. I became resentful. I would retaliate. I would bicker. I would chat back. Because I felt, no, this is being done to me, so I must strike back. I must do this. But I was losing who I was. I was losing my sweetness. And so when I look back, one point I can give is that don't let bitter waters make you lose your sweetness. In terms of respect, when speaking to a man, the approach is important. Because of how I was feeling, I would respond and say what I think and feel based on my emotions, rather than on love and on the points of what I'm trying to communicate, and making sure they reach the other side. That's something I missed the mark on. And when I look at it in general, I can advise, what I could say to men is that when relating to a woman, or serving a woman a meal, in terms of communication, if I can use that analogy, use a plate of love. Use a plate of love.
Use a plate of love.
Let the plate be love. So it doesn't matter what you put in the plate, it's what you're carrying it in. So if you put a delicious meal in a trash can and you come and give it to me, I won't be inclined to eat that. I can't even see the contents of that. So that's what I can say to our gentlemen, is that when speaking to a woman, let the plate, let what you serve it on be love, and she will hear you and she will respond respectfully. That's a point I can give over there.
Right. So you mentioned that you came to a point where you said enough was enough. What was the last what do you call it? The last straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. So what was the last straw that broke the camel's back, where you said, okay, I'm walking away from this marriage? And then what were you going through? Because, you know, you're a child of God, right? You know the word. When people quote the Bible says that God hates divorce. That's the first thing that comes out of people's mouth when you talk about walking away from a marriage. So how were you able to come to this conclusion? Was it through counseling or some godly men? Because the people, they want to know.
Yeah, and thank you for asking me that, because this is a difficult conversation. It is something that is, if I look at where we come from, our African background, if I look at where we come from in the Christian circle, this is something to be ashamed of. This is something to cover and hide. Yeah. But something I've learned out of my walk is, you know, walk in boldness and in confidence of truth. Because where there is, you know, there's freedom, there's that liberty. There's that liberty. So I speak in confidence and in boldness, and I've recovered from this to some extent. So I say that in boldness. The last straw, to answer your question, for me is when I internalized and realized the damage that was happening to me.
Right.
The damage I was causing to myself, the damage that the circumstance were causing, and the damage the relationship was causing. When I got to that point where I thought it's better to die than to live. And when I got to the point where I was thinking, I think my family can take care of my children. Wow. And my children will be fine. But I can't live anymore. I can't live anymore. When I got to that point, when I started contemplating suicide, right, that's when I knew that something has got to change, and I need to stop, and I need to go to a peaceful place, heal, recover, and get help. That was the changing point for me. And like, to answer your question, God hates divorce. You know, when I used to look at that scripture or speak to people, the impression I would get is because, you know, he's king over all human beings, and he's dictating to us that you must not divorce, you must stay in it, you must suffer. But on the contrary, he hates divorce. Out of our conversation, hates divorce because of the damage it does. Because you're separating two lives that have been together, and you're ripping them apart, that have become one. So it's out of love that he hates divorce.
That's right.
It's the damage it does to us. So in that point, I realized that no, I need to love myself enough to walk away. So it was a walk of love. It was a walk of love. I walked out in love with me.
I really like that, because we in our private conversation, we were talking about the topic of divorce. And the religious view. I'm not a pastor, nor I have any, but as a daughter of Daddy God, you know, personally, and I know for you know, people who are really serious about Daddy God, we're all learning to understand the heart of Daddy God, the heart. So for me, I was sharing, we were talking and sharing about, you know, divorce being that it's not just what do you call it, a religious statement that God hates divorce. No, because the Bible tells us that a man would as a woman, you know, shall leave the father, and they should cleave and become one flesh. So with Daddy God's mindset, he is gluing two people and making them one. And Daddy God is so passionate about unity. Look at the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They are one, 3 in 1. They've always been one, and they'll always be one. And so in terms of when Daddy God talks about divorce, I understand it in the sense that when there's divorce, there is a ripping. There's a ripping of two people.
Absolutely.
And where there's a ripping, there's going to be what? Pain.
Pain.
There's going to be all manner of...
Some of your pieces will come with me.
That's it.
Mine will come with yours.
That's right.
It won't be even.
That's right.
There's some things that are going to take years to recover. Some we will not recover.
Not recover.
Children.
Yeah.
Finances.
A whole lot.
Everything.
Everything. So when Daddy God says he hates divorce, he also hates gossip. So for those of you that just harp on, you know, just jump on that scripture and say, well, God hates divorce, God hates divorce, God hates divorce. Yeah, we're being real here. The other things that he also hates. He hates gossip. He hates, you know, he's lying. He's cheating. So we need to balance this.
Balance it
We need
out.
to
That's
balance
right.
it out.
It's
We need
gotta
to
be
balance it out.
balanced.
So
It's gotta
the
be
divorcing, we're not saying that, you know, everybody should go walk away from, but we're trying to understand from his perspective. He is the one who instituted marriage. So there's a ripping of two people. And out of that ripping comes a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow, and because he doesn't want that, that's why he says, I hate divorce, because I hate what's going to happen to you, the damage that happens to you, and if you've got children, that's another,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So you managed to walk away.
I managed to walk away, and here's the part. I thought I've walked away. Everything's okay.
Tell the people.
I've walked away, so everything's okay. And I'll give you a scenario. When criminals or thieves, armed robbers, if you like, break into a home, yeah, they take, you know, jewelry and they run off. And you think, okay, that cost me £1,000. That's painful to me. It's not what they take away that that remains with you. It's the trauma of someone having broken into your home. It's the next day when you're thinking, are the doors locked, and you're checking everything, that you realize, no, it's not what they took away. It's what they left, the fear, the insecurities, the worries, even the windows that you know are closed, you check them over and over. So after everything was over and I've moved out, I've left. I was alone.
So you moved out of your...
I moved out of my matrimonial home.
Okay.
And I left. And I, at that point, like I said, I was not working.
You're not working.
I had the children.
2 small children.
And I moved into a property. And I had to finance that, and that was difficult because I wasn't working. So thankfully my family stood by me. They really chipped in, they contributed, and we were able to stand in. Friends, family, you know, people close to me stood by me. And so for the next 20 days, 20 days from the day that I left, before I continue, I missed a point. I put my clothes in rubbish bags.
All your clothes?
My possessions in rubbish bags.
All her clothes were put in a rubbish bag.
I put them in
Kings
rubbish
and queens.
bags. I didn't pick up anything. I didn't come up with, you know, take things or try to fight for property or possessions. I just took my clothes.
Why did you do that?
I did that because I believe that when you want to start something new, when you want to cook a meal, you use a clean pot. You don't take a pot that's half full of soup from yesterday and try to cook a fresh one in there. Okay. And another reason is I didn't want the memory of the pain. Okay. So I wanted a clean slate, clean break. And also I didn't want to be unfair. Because at that moment I was broken, I was wounded, I was angry, and I wouldn't have been fair. I would have taken all. I would have been selfish. Okay. So the selfless thing to do was to walk away with just the clothes and the things that belong to me in terms of, you know, personally, clothes or jewelry that's mine or things like that. So those are the things I took away. And so for the 20 days, I broke down. I broke down in those 20 days. I broke down and I thought everything's okay. I've left. Why am I crying? I don't want to go back. Why am I crying? And it's in that moment I realized that I was broken-hearted. I was broken-hearted and I was damaged. Right.
So during this time, this 20 days that you have moved into this new place, what conversations were you having with Daddy God? Ooh. We like to call him Daddy G sometimes. What conversations were you having with him? Share with the viewers.
They were explicit conversations.
Can you say it?
They were explicit conversations. I was angry. I was mad. So there were times I would catch myself in a room swearing.
Swearing at Daddy G.
Yes, I was swearing because I was mad. How could this have been done to me? This is not how I okay, you want an example? Okay, let me give you an example. This is me. So I'm in a room, in a bathroom, kids are sleeping. And I'm like, is this a joke? So I've got tissue. Is this a joke? Is this a joke? How can I be at this point? How can this happen to me? I'm just starting my 30s. I didn't envision to be divorced. Why me? Why did you let this happen to me? You let me down. You let me down. And when I said that, I broke down and I cried and I said, God, you're supposed to be my keeper.
Supposed to be my daddy.
So even if I mess up, you're supposed to keep me. So what happened? And when I said that, there was absolute silence. Silence. I couldn't hear God. I couldn't hear nothing. I just wept. And I was going back. I thought I'd been damaged, in my heart, or in places in terms of relating to a man and a woman. I didn't realize my faith had been damaged.
Okay.
Because when I uttered those words and I said, you let me down, then I realized that my relationship with God had been damaged. Not by my ex per se, but by what I went through and myself. And so I had to start that process of looking back. And as soon as I said that, I knew I'd crossed the line.
Why? What do you mean? Because Daddy God, he can take it. I mean, there's nothing that surprises Daddy God. It doesn't matter what F or whatever swear words or explicit words.
He hears our heart.
Yes.
He hears our heart.
So why did you think? Let the people understand. Why do you think that you crossed the line by being vulnerable with Daddy God? Because that's what he wants.
I'd never done that before. This is God. How can you say that to God? And then that's when he said to me, it's okay. And I was like, I think I'm getting schizophrenic. Am I losing it here? He said, no, patience. It's okay. You're wounded. You're angry. Let it out. Pour it on me. Pour it out on me. Pour it out on me. And I was taking baby steps. I was like, okay, I'll just, in my heart, I thought, I'll say a little bit. I won't say everything. This is God. He hears and sees everything. So I said, God, I'm flipping mad. I'm flipping mad. How could he do this to me? I'm flipping mad. I didn't envision. And when I started to be vulnerable, to be real and pour it out, in my bathroom, screaming and shouting and letting it out.
How loud were you?
I was screaming. I was screaming. I was mad. I was screaming. I was angry. And when I started to pour this out, and then the scripture that came to my mind is, perfect love. Perfect love casts out all fear. And sometimes fear isn't something that is, external. Sometimes it's internal. So I was afraid of being vulnerable with God because I felt like marriage and divorce is a sin. So we failed, and I don't have boldness and confidence to come and stand. And because we were sort of in the pastoral zone, it was even a higher fall. So I just felt, but he said to me, it's okay. And he said to me, I want to introduce myself to you.
Did you hear that? Daddy God says he wants to introduce himself to her. What did he mean by that?
And I sat there thinking, wait, what you trying to say in all this time? So no, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. And I said, I can't do the whole church thing because I've been wounded. Like I said, we were sort of in the pastoral zone, so I needed to retreat to recover.
So that our viewers can understand what you're saying and where you're coming from, you were a pastor's wife?
I was a pastor's wife.
Okay.
I was a pastor's wife, so you can understand what that comes with. You can understand. So from being a pastor's wife to being divorced, that is complicated. That's complex. And African Black churches, that's extra complex. And I understand. I'm not judging. I understand. So I was in the bathroom screaming and crying. So I was like, how am I supposed to face the people? What will I say? What will I tell my children? But I said to him, he said, but why did you do this? And I said, because it's what's in my heart and it's true. And he said, then walk in that. Walk in that truth. And I said, that's fine. But I'm wounded, I'm hurt, and I'm bitter.
So you were really raw with that.
I was bitter. I was raw with him. I was, and I had to let that out. I had to let that out. Guess to who? To God. to God, because he can handle it.
Mm.
He can handle it. And I didn't trust him.
Mm.
I didn't trust God to be able to handle my extremes.
I like that.
I didn't trust him. I didn't trust him.
Mm. I really, and I just want to buttress it because, you know, I mean, I've grown up in church with a very religious background, and you're not allowed to be, what's the word? You're not allowed to be real. So it's always, oh, brother,
how are you
oh,
today?
sister, how are you?
Blessed.
I'm high. What do they say?
Blessed and
I
highly
am blessed
favored.
and highly favored. What are some of the things that you guys say? What are all those, I beg your pardon, fake things that you do? You know, I am blessed and highly favored. Oh, the Lord is here in this place.
Yeah. And not to say it's not genuine.
No, we're not
there
saying
are moments
that
it's genuine, but there are moments where, like for example, in my circumstances, where I knew I just left my marital home.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be right to answer, I'm blessed and highly favored? Would it be honest? Would it be, because we're afraid to be vulnerable. We want to hide and conceal that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay to say, you know what? I could be having a better day.
Mm-hmm.
Pray for me.
Mm.
Yeah. Pray for me, or stand with me, or I'll get back in touch with you. You know, or I'm just retreating. I need to deal with something. It's more vulnerable and genuine.
Good question to you, viewers, kings and queens. How vulnerable are you with God? Or Daddy God? How vulnerable are you? How sincere are you with God? You know, people, there's a lot of what you mentioned about David and his relationship with God. Even this morning, when I was doing my devotion, I was like, you know what, Daddy God, I am really jealous of this David, because David had a very vulnerable relationship with Daddy God. And I'm always praying that, you know, even though my relationship with him is unique, but I want to get to that place where you get it?
Yeah, absolutely vulnerable. No walls.
No walls.
No pretense. Say it as it is.
So was this the very first time that you were so vulnerable with Daddy God?
I think this is the very first time I put a microphone in my head. Yeah, some of those deeper thoughts, those deeper voices that you mute and silence. And you hold back because you believe it's the wrong thing. You believe there's no scripture to tell you that it's okay to, if you're mad, let it out at God. There's nothing like that. There's nothing to say if you are having a bad day and you don't want to talk and you don't want to pray and have your devotion. It's okay. Because we're coming from a place where you're supposed to do it, even if it feels good or not. And you're there forcing yourself, but in your heart it's not. But God's about what's here. So if it's not here, take your time. Come to me when you mean it.
Have you, can I put this question out to you? Have you, or could you say to Daddy God, today, I just don't feel like talking to you. I just don't feel like talking to you. Or, I'm upset with you, so I don't want to talk to you. Or would you just do the religious thing and
force yourself to pray? And you don't mean it inside?
You don't mean it inside? You read your Bible, you don't mean it inside?
And he can see the heart?
He can see the heart.
Oh my God. Honestly, what you're saying is so key, because for me, I mean, I had to come to that place, like, I don't feel like going to church. I had that voice in my head, I don't feel like going. And he put me in that position where I was surrounded by people, coming to the very last point, which Queen A mentioned, befriending the unlikely, you know, in quotes, or the biased people who are marginalized by society. I befriended someone who then told me that they were abused in a church. They were, you know, sexually abused in a church. So anytime they see a poster, anytime they see a flyer, it triggers the abuse. It triggers memory of abuse. So they do not want to go to church. It's not a demon. It's not anything. Because it's the place where the abuse occurred. So if someone like that does not want to go to church, initial reaction, or the old me would have, you know, thought, you know, they need prayers. They need to be, you know, that's not the Spirit of God, but sometimes it's just you just need to pause and take care of you, like Jesus often did. He would retreat. He would retreat. He would go by and be on his own and just pray and talk to the Father. So just like we relate to our friends and family, there are times that we love them, but you've got nothing to say. You're just peaceful and quiet, and it's okay to be with him. I have learned, and not say anything. And just sit and relax.
So going back to, so we're on the marriage situation, the divorce situation. You walked out of the marriage. You're in a new place with your children, and you are at loggerheads with Daddy God. You're having were you having tantrums with Daddy God?
I had major tantrums. I would be cussing. I would be saying what I mean. I would be, and I think I started to drink. I started to drink to try and numb the pain.
I love your
So I would have wine to try and numb the pain. I'll be honest and real. I say what it is. I don't hold back.
Yeah, we're being real here.
Because when you go through a trauma, the likelihood is you will try to numb what happened to you.
Yeah. You
will try to numb it.
Yeah.
And so people do this in different ways.
Yeah.
They may turn to a cigarette, alcohol. They may turn to anything. Can be anything.
So we're talking about whether you're Christian or you're not Christian here. Jesus lover, Daddy God lover.
Yeah.
We're being real here.
We're being real. So I would have not the casual glass of wine, but I was trying to numb the pain. And so there I was with a glass of wine, and he just looked at me. It just felt like God's looking at me. He's like, hey, can we sit together?
Can we sit together, Daddy God says?
Can we sit together? And I thought, okay. I sat down on the couch, and I'm half tipsy, I'm half gone. Okay. Can you put that down? I'm like, okay. And he said, now, can you bring what's really there to me? Because what you're holding is a glass, but I want you to bring the glass of your heart. Let me drink. Bring it. And I thought, and so I began to pour out what was inside. Pour out. And just say, you know what, I'm wounded, and I don't know how to fill the void. I don't know how to fix this. And I'm a person who likes fixing things. So, can you help me? He said, yes, I will. He said, go and get counseling. Get help. Speak to someone who can walk you through this process. So I picked up the phone, called a professional counselor, and checked myself in.
Did you hear that? That is beautiful. She didn't do the religious thing.
No.
She was very honest. She was in a very dark place. We took her to begin to start drinking. And one of the times when she was tipsy, Daddy God spoke to her and said, let me fill you in, right?
That's it. Let me. So I had a glass of wine. I'm trying to drink, and he said, no, give me the glass of your heart. The way you're holding a glass and you're trying to numb yourself, you give me that pain. Let me hold it. Let me take it. Let me take it. And so after I picked up the phone and spoke, to the counselor to make an appointment, I broke down. I broke down, and I thought that was a simple conversation. He didn't ask me anything. He just, confirmed the time. But as soon as I put the phone down, I broke down. Children were in nursery, and I wept and wept. And I realized that it was me accepting that I had failed. It was me accepting that I had failed to fix it. It was me accepting that I needed to get help. And it was me handing myself in. That I'm a Christian, former pastor's wife, but I need help. And so that acknowledgement made me cry, made me weep and break down. And so starting that process was just a beautiful place. I just felt like I was carrying a heavy burden, and it was lifted off of my shoulder to someone else, and I was acknowledging what had come off my back.
So what would you say to other people that may be going in, Christians, Daddy God lovers, Jesus lovers, who are going through perhaps similar situations? Should they do the religious thing and say Jesus is Lord and Daddy God is there, or God is there, God will do it? God will do it, or would you advocate that perhaps we need to seek counseling? Because my background is, so some may go and speak to their pastors.
Yep.
And for I know a lot of people who are going through a lot in their marriages, and it's a harsh situation. So you going through this, what would you advocate, what would you advise, what would be the practical thing to do rather than the religious thing to do? Because Daddy God is very practical, right?
It's very practical. What I can say is that before you can reach out, you need to stop. So it's like you're on the motorway, you're on the M1, or you're driving in the freeway if you're in America, or in Africa on a highway, and you are going somewhere fast in a car that's literally falling apart. So the wheels are coming off, the steering wheel is shaking and it's about to come off. If that is the condition of your marriage and relationship, the first thing I would say is you need to stop. Right. So just park the car on the hard shoulder. Take a breath. If you have got children, ask family and friends just to babysit for like a week or a few days. Stop. Just stop. That's the first thing I would say. Stop. And then after you've stopped and paused, breathe in and out, just take a few days, reflect. So stop. Second point is reflect. Look back to the day you walked down the aisle to today, and do that with a piece of paper. Okay. This one I learned from the counselor. So write a list of things that are good. Okay. And write things that are bad. Okay. And put this list together. Okay. If the bad outweighs the good, the answer's right there. Okay. I want you to also consider the fact that how is your heart? Okay. How is the condition of your heart? How is the condition of your mind? Because like the word says, guard your heart. Guard your heart. Guard your heart above all things. Guard your heart. So the condition of your mind and your heart is like the engine of your soul. So if that is damaged, then there's no way everything else can run smoothly. Okay. With your heart and mind. So check your heart and mind. And then in doing that, look for a professional counselor. Okay. If those are the indicating signs, your list of bad things is longer or is stronger, is louder than the good, then you need to speak to someone. So I would advocate, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, if you are, no matter the religion or background you come from, it is helpful. It has been helpful for me to pick up the phone and speak to a professional counselor. So someone who is qualified counselor, someone who has experience in counseling, and someone who has specialized in the field. Because for me, I needed to speak to a counselor who had specialized in divorce. So not just a general counselor. Right. I love pastors, God bless pastors, but pastors are spiritual leaders, and so it's good to speak to them. But here you would need specific help from a trained and qualified individual with experience. And you also need someone who is neutral, who is not in your circle, because you need someone who can be objective with you, because it's hard to be objective when you are speaking. If I had come, for example, to Queen Anastasia for professional counseling, she's my friend. Okay, she's my friend, and so she will speak to me as my friend. But I would also need someone who can kick me up my bottom and be like, come on, fix this. So you need to speak to someone objective, someone qualified, someone neutral, someone who is who can be objective on the side. So that's what I would say. So stop, reflect, and then write down good and bad, and then check the condition of your heart and mind, and then pick up the phone to speak to a counselor.
I think that is so important, especially for us Christians. And I'm talking from experience, where a lot of us may suffer in the background, and we think that it's unspiritual to seek professional help. That's it. We think it's very unspiritual, but if something is wrong with you, you find it easy to pick up the phone to call the GP, or to call the dentist, or to call the whatever professional. So why can't we go out there and seek help from professional counselors if they need be.
Yes.
And if there's Christian counselors too, but they help. The same Daddy God that gave the gift of medicine or for the passion to be a doctor is the same person, the same God who gives somebody to be a divorce counselor or divorce therapist. So I don't think we should shy away from professional help, and we should not suffer in silence. I think I just really want to shout on that. As Christians, don't suffer in silence. Pick up the phone for professional help. Don't be religious and say, God will do it. God is not going to do it, because he has called people, he has wired people to solve different problems. And so he's giving people the passion to be able to give wisdom and knowledge and understanding to help a relationship. So please don't suffer in silence and say that God will do it. He's not going to do it. And trust me, there are many ways we see that they haven't done it. God hasn't done it, because he's already given the solutions in the earth, and you're saying that he will do it. Obviously, yes, we have, as children of God, we have the Spirit of God inside us. We have the Word of God that is there, but still that does not discount that Daddy God has not given people wisdom, knowledge, ability to deal with different kinds of problems that are out there. So we should pick up the phone and seek help where it's necessary.
Absolutely. I love what you're saying, because if your car's broken down, you call the mechanic.
Exactly.
If your teeth are giving you problems, you call the dentist.
Yes.
And then if your body is dysfunctioning, got headaches, you're not sure what's going on, you go specifically to the GP. If you're pregnant, you call a midwife.
Thank you.
And if you're ready to deliver the baby, you have to go to the hospital, and specifically the maternity section.
Exactly, the maternity.
So yes, because even if you are at the hospital and you go to, for instance, you go to the the place where they draw blood, they can't help you, though it's the hospital. If you go to the brain surgery theater, they can't help you. It's a hospital, but it's not the place that you need. So it's the same thing. Thank God for pastors.
Yep.
They have a role to play.
They have a role to play.
And my pastors were very supportive and helpful. And they advised me, get counseling, because we are going to do our part, but we also need you to do your part in reaching out and getting that help. So it's what I could say, it's like you're having a meal. So you've got your carbohydrates, you've got your vegetables, and you've got your proteins, and you've got your sauce, and you've got all the other bits. And so you need all those components to make a healthy meal. That's right. So you need your prayers from your pastors. You need to go to church and get that support, yes, but you also need to go for counseling. Someone who can sit you down and walk you through your childhood traumas that could have been affecting you, because sometimes what we go through today is as a result of traumas that have transpired in our childhood. Sometimes it's what we've seen in our childhood. Sometimes it's what's been done to us in our childhood. So sometimes the problems are deeply rooted in our background, not necessarily what we would have gone through. So you need a professional who has practiced and is trained and is studied and can carefully help you through that process. So that's what I can say. So it's not to play down on your church or your pastor.
Or your pastors, no.
It's in love. You need them, and you also need to step out and cut. And it can be scary. It can be scary to pick up the phone and ask for help, but it's much better to face that fear and pick the phone than to suffer in silence.
Thanks, Queen P. So we've heard a lot concerning Queen P's marriage and divorce. For those of you who are joining me live, this is the Real Daddy God Show. Over here, we're learning to be fathered by God through everyday living. 2 Corinthians 6:18 says that I will be a true father to you, and you will be my beloved sons and daughters. So we are we are learning what Daddy G has been taking Queen P through. She's been in the classroom with Daddy G. She's been shouting at Daddy G, having tantrums with Daddy G, and all the rest. But he's Daddy G. He knows how to look after his own. So we're going to move on to so from marriage to divorce till single motherhood. We probably will stop there because it's almost 2 o'clock. Maybe we'll see how it goes. So single motherhood.
Wow.
Tell us about that.
Something I never realized was I was single again. I sat there and I was like, wait a minute, I'm single. So when you become single after coming out of a divorce, the first thing that you will realize is you're alone.
Wow.
You have to face the fear of being alone.
Alone.
So if criminals break into my home,
wow,
I'm alone.
Wow.
The bills need to be paid. It's all on me.
Wow.
If the children are ill and I am ill, it's all on me. If I need to go to 2 places at the same time and I'm overwhelmed, it's all on me. There's no break from parenting because you are both, you're 2 in 1. So I had to face the fear of being alone.
You had to face the fear of being alone.
Yes.
So were you able to come to terms that, oh my gosh, I am now single and alone?
It was scary. I didn't want to face it. So I tried to I started to substitute. So I would have my friends around and I would go places. So I was trying to run. And I just felt God would giggle and look at me. And I would look at him like, I'm going to do it as much as I can while I can because I know you're going to get me. So that's how I pray. These are my conversations with God. I'm very real with him. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. And he said, it's okay. When you're ready. He's a gentleman. He's very gentle and tender with me. And
gentle and tender.
God is very gentle and tender. And that's not to downplay that he can come and literally whoop people if he needs to. But it's just to say, I learned that side of him. He's a gentleman. He's very tender. He's not pushy. He's very tender with me. And so God said, when you're ready, we're going to address this. And I kept substituting, trying to fill things, I always kept the telly on because I didn't want to hear silence.
Wow.
I always tried to fit people into my schedule because I didn't want the silence until it wasn't enough. And I had to face me. I was afraid to face me because the me I had become wasn't who I knew I was.
Wow.
So I had to face who I had become. It was like looking in the mirror and then you meet the version of who you'll be in the next 60 years. It's scary to look at the wrinkles. It's scary to look at it. It's scary. So I had to look and have a conversation and meet my damaged self, my broken self. And when I saw that, I was heartbroken. So I had to stop. And this is where it gets interesting because I'm having these conversations with God in my bathroom, when I take a shower, when I'm walking, and then he said to me, you need to do this by yourself. I'm gonna walk away. And I said, whoa, you're God, you don't walk away. You don't walk away. And he said, no, I need you to meet you.
Okay.
I need you to meet you.
Take a real good look at you.
Take a real good look at yourself. Have a conversation with yourself. And I'll come back when you're done.
Wow. How do you do that? Kings and queens, taking a good look at the real you. So you're being naked. No more hiding.
No hiding.
No running away.
No running away.
No trying to cover up.
No.
Now you're looking at yourself.
Yes.
Tell us more.
Scary. Because my immediate reaction when I then, put the kids to sleep and I finished up prepping for work and I'm, it was on my days off from work. So I just then quietened down. I'm thinking, oh no, I'm not ready. And then I took a mirror and I opened up my tablet. So I started by looking at a picture of myself about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And not just my physical appearance, where I was, what I was doing, my dreams, my goals. And then I looked at who I was now. And I wept. I wept. And guess what? I then had to put my arms around myself. And I had to apologize to myself. For losing myself. I had to say sorry to me. I had to go on my knees and say sorry. I'm so sorry I let you down. I'm so sorry I disappointed you. I'm so sorry I let you become bitter and broken and damaged. I'm so sorry I left you.
We talk about being practical here. Not just the praying. This is the practical. She had to now look at herself and talk to herself, to this person that she had damaged, and say what she said.
Yeah.
This is
it. I had to come back to myself. And then I envisioned it as a train station. And I got off the train and I saw this broken girl sitting there. Disappointed, with no shoes. And I came over and I leaned over to her, and it was me. It was me. And she showed me that, I had walked away from her. And she waited on that spot for me to return. And so I picked her up and I said, I'm so sorry. Come with me. Let's go. So that's what I could see. Like, that's what I could envision in my mind. So I picked myself up. I said, sorry. Trying to clean her up, give her shoes, get her. I found myself. So I had to now merge my broken self and the real me. And so now I had two extremes. Who I was and who I had become.
And who you had become.
And then I had to face the raw deal now. What happened to me? How do I fix this? So that's where counseling came in, and to make those pointers. So you became bitter. Why did you become bitter? You became disrespectful. Why did you become disrespectful? You started to nag. Why did you nag? And so we started looking into this, and then my self-confidence had been damaged. My appearance, particularly, because I'm a big girl. I'm size 18/20, so I'm 18 and 20, and this had been damaged. So I always felt, I'm big, I'm not attractive, I'm not beautiful, I'm this. It had been shattered, in that light. So I felt I was completely hopeless as a person, and no man could ever look at me or love me, and I had no chance in life of love or anything. And we had to start there. So we started there, because when you look at yourself, the first thing you see is your physical appearance. So I had to look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. And the first time I did that, that was a challenge. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, I am beautiful. And I did this. No. Okay. And then another repeat, patience. Look yourself in the mirror and say, you're beautiful. No, I'm not. And then, the third time. And then I broke down in tears. I couldn't say it because these were words that I didn't associate myself with. So I had to face myself in the light of the truth. I'm a beautiful, attractive woman. I'm a big, beautiful, attractive woman. I am a big, beautiful, attractive woman. I had to echo and repeat those words daily. Over a period of time, months and months, about 6 months, repeating those words. I am big, I am beautiful, I am attractive woman. And then I had to go body parts. I love my hands. I love my hands. I would be repeating. Even I didn't mean it. I started facing that. I love my feet. I love my body. I love my hips. I love my chest. I started to fall in love with myself again. And when that happened, God is so merciful. When you complete a process, He rewards you. And as soon as I did that, then came the pointer. Why don't you model? And I'm like, you are joking me. Me. And so I came to that point.
Wow. I mean, you people, we haven't even, well, we've so far talked about marriage, divorce, single motherhood. We've barely touched on how you begin to regain your self-confidence. In fact, the one I'm really looking for, then we're probably going to have to, we are actually going to do a part 2. The one I'm so excited to hear is the one on the VVIP movement. Oh my gosh. This lady, Daddy God, like I said, he's been taking her through some extreme private tuition. She's been in the classroom of Daddy G. And it's just amazing. So for those of you joining me live, this is the Real Daddy God Show. This is Queen Patty. She's my special guest today. She's more than a guest. She's my sister. I met on the DSA platform, Dr. Sandy Adelaja. And so far we talked about marriage. She's talked about divorce, single motherhood, and we've yet to talk about, like I said, the self-love, the VVIP movement, and then being a singer, songwriter. She's returned to the studio. She's returned, so she's going to be releasing an album very soon. Very soon.
Yep.
And like she just mentioned, she just got into plus size modeling. And I remember, I think it was maybe a month ago when she mentioned that she would love to get into plus size modeling. I said, wow, this she ain't tripping.
I ain't tripping. I'm walking that runway. Plus size, girl. Woo! Plus size. I ain't tripping. I never knew there were plus size models.
Well, I did. I didn't know that you were gonna.
I didn't even know. Until I get a message and someone says to me, "Are you interested?" And I was like, "Will they accept me?" I had to come back to that place, and I said, "I am a big, beautiful, attractive woman." And so I sent my pictures straight away. They said, "We're having you. When can you come? When can you?" So I started plus size modeling for clothing line. My hands.
Did you hear that?
My feet, my eyes, my lips. I literally model not just for the runway, but also specific. Like for example, for eyes, for glasses, or for lips, for lip care, or for my hands, for nails, so it's specific modeling.
Oh my gosh!
Plus size model.
This is somebody whose confidence, her self-confidence had just shattered, and she couldn't even find the pieces. Now Daddy God has brought her through, and she's doing not only modeling but plus size modeling.
Plus size modeling.
What does this say? This says that it doesn't matter what has happened to you, the best is yet to come. Right?
That's it.
The best is yet to come.
And sometimes it's out of your brokenness.
Yes.
It's out of the ashes that the beauty comes.
He
out of the ashes.
gives beauty for ashes.
That's it.
The Daddy God that I serve and that she serves, he gives beauty for ashes.
Beautiful ashes.
I mean, I don't know what to say.
And this is not even everything.
This is everything.
We've just gone quarter way of the things happening. I wake up in the morning and I literally pinch myself because I keep thinking it's a good dream. I keep thinking it's a good dream, and will I wake up or what? But it's actually genuine. It's my life, and so the plus size modeling started, and it's kicked off. It's amazing. I'm so happy. So I go for makeup as well. So my face, just sometimes it's just my face. So I go for bridal makeup modeling. So I have a gig coming up where I have to go and do that. I'm so excited. So I'm traveling around the country doing that. And then, from there, God looked at me and said, acting. And I was like, I've seen movies, but I've never been in a movie. And so this is what leads me to. So I went for a movie premiere. Okay? So I said, okay, God, if you're saying I should step into this, then I want to, find out more about this. So I have a very beautiful, beautiful good friend, and she's a movie producer, and her name is T.Y. Moore.
Shout out to T.Y. Moore.
T.Y. She is an extremely talented film producer and actress, award-winning. She's top league, completely top league. So, she had a premiere, and I went to one of her movies, and it was called Sister. Sister, Sista, yeah, Sister. And so I went to this premiere. I thought, okay, since you want me to step into acting, let me go and learn and enjoy myself. I get to this premiere, so there's a red carpet.
There's a red carpet, beautiful people.
There's a red carpet, and I don't want to, take all the juice out of the meat here, but the VVIP experience, it's a real thing for me. So God is amazing, and He's a compensator.
Yes, we've been talking about that.
He's a compensator.
He gives double
for your trouble. So I get to this premiere, I'm in there, and I'm, red carpet. I'm served champagne on my way in, and I'm escorted by 2 people through the back, through the security. It was amazing. I had a waiter and waitress waiting on me. It was my first time in my life to experience that. It was amazing. It was beautiful. And I sit there, and this movie is about me.
The movie is about you.
Yes, so it's about a story that's very similar to what I've been through, my life story. So I sat there and I started crying. And I'm like, wow. And so, I just felt God speak to me in that premiere and say, it's just you telling your story. That's what acting is about. It's not you stepping out and being something you're not. It's just you stepping into character and being you in front of a camera. I want you to do this. And I said, okay, I'm in. So, this is where I'm at now. So plus size modeling, acting, music.
I don't know whether you can hear it, but throughout her delivery, she keeps on talking about what Daddy God tells her to do. So you have this amazing relationship with Daddy God.
Yes.
Who's been walking you through the highs and the lows.
Wow.
Can you talk to the people about Daddy God and how they can have this relationship? And yeah, tell them.
Guys, this relationship, I must thank Queen Anastasia because she inspired that to me. She inspired that. She kind of kick-started that in my mind. God is the same. He doesn't change, but I think my perception of him changed because she kept referring to him as Daddy God. It was personal to her. And so I kept trying to say it, and the more I tried to say it, I realized I'm trying to imitate her relationship with God. I'm trying to pimp my relationship with God. That's fun.
I like that you tried to.
Don't pimp me, God told me. Don't pimp me. And it's about the deeper walk. Not that I wasn't in the faith. I was, but going deeper. You gotta go deeper. Gotta go deeper. So I thought, okay, that's it. I am just going to talk to you like how I want to talk to you. Like I've always wanted to talk to you, but I couldn't because of religion. So I was like, you know what, God, let's talk. So at that moment, I started to call him Daddy G.
Daddy G,
because it's G like that. If you try to touch me, he'll go gangster on you. You know what I'm saying? He is G. So that was it for me. Daddy G. Ayo G. So yeah, it became personal for me. It was personal. So the beauty in that is there's freedom. I don't have to have devotion in the morning and in the evening. Not out of skipping the rules, but out of love. I can talk to him anytime. And I knew that before, but I didn't experience it this way. So literally, he said, let me be there for you. Let me fill that void and that place, that's empty in your heart. And so when I'm cooking, I'm literally talking, what should I put in here? Okay, I should add this one. Okay, yeah, I know it tastes very nice. I don't like this. What do you think? Okay, yeah, add this. So this is a relationship. I'm at that level with him. So I'm like, today I'm going, what should I wear? When I was coming, I was like, what should I wear? Do you think this looks good? Look at this bit. Literally it's at that level for me, in everything. In everything. So being single, you get a lot of people asking for my number. When I go to the shows or when I perform somewhere, I get a lot of gentlemen trying to be close to me. And so I don't have time to wait for devotion in the morning. Because there's so much happening. I live a fast-paced life, so I literally need him on the go, and he's there for me on the go. He's God on the go for me, because I need a drive-through. I don't have time to get in the restaurant and order a meal and you lay hands on me and put oil. I don't have the time because of the life that I live. So he's literally on the go with me. So how I can say this to you is, God is the God of your perception. He is the God of your perception. And what I mean by that is, it's the more you enlightened, the more you awaken to him, the more you'll get to know how gentle he is, how patient he is, how considerate, how kind, and how loving he is, and how close he is. I always used to, want him to come close, but then I didn't realize I didn't need to do that. He's been in the same spot he has been since beginning of time. It's just how close you come to him and want to. That's it. So it's about your heart. It's about your heart. And I've learned to pray in different ways. I've learned to pray without any scriptures. I've learned to pray without any spiritual words and phrases. I've learned to just be me. So the way I'm talking to you, or Anastasia, I'm like that. Hey God, this person texts me. This is quite a nasty text. I don't like this. This is annoying. This is annoying. God, look. So that's how I speak, and that's a prayer. I'm telling him exactly what's in my heart. And another thing is because we are women, so we tend to communicate to God and relate to him according to how we feel. And then men will relate to God based on facts and what is on the ground because of their nature.
That's a very good point.
So you don't judge yourself and compare how other people relate to God, because you are you. So I came to the realization, I'm a woman and I speak to God based on how I feel. I tell him how I feel, and he responds to me based on how I feel. And so he's a gentleman. So he knows how we are wired. He made us. So when you explore that, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So what I can say to you is just give it a try. When you're upset, give it a try and let it out. Don't let it out on your partner, on your kids, or on someone else. Go to God, go to a room. If you feel like shouting, shout your lungs out.
Shout.
If you feel like crying, cry your eyes out. He can handle it, and he can be there. If you need finances, for example, you're short of money, just say, God, I'm short. Because if I'm short and I'm talking to her, I'm like, Queenie, I'm short. I need 10. I need a tenner. She's my friend. Vice versa. So how much more the King of the universe? You tell him freely. Before, I felt I needed to quote the scripture to him for him to give it to me. But there's more freedom than that. He hears your heart. So I relate freely. So I just want to challenge you and say, the next time you're in a circumstance or situation, try speaking to him from your heart, without so much so what you've been taught or what you've been trained, but just you. Be vulnerable with him. Tell him how you feel, tell him the facts on the ground, and he will respond to that directly.
He loves it. He loves it when you're absolutely yourself. Just be you.
Just be you.
Just do you with him.
Do you?
That's what he wants.
He wants that.
He wants the real you.
He wants you to be so honest on a Sunday when you're tired. You've had a long week and you didn't sleep well, and you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like going to church, but because of religion you can't say that. He wants you to say, God, I'm tired today. I didn't sleep well. I don't feel like going to church. Because that's honest. That's genuine. That's what's in your heart. So instead of coming to him and saying, I'll enter your gates with thanksgiving, when you don't mean it. Not to say that's what it means, but be genuine with him, and he understands. God knows that you didn't sleep well. God knows that you did a night shift, and so you've just come home in the morning, and he's so gentle. He understands, and he can say to you, it's okay, go to sleep.
Exactly.
Sleep, lay down and get some rest, because you're going to be in my house falling asleep, dozing off. You can't concentrate, and his heart breaks because you're doing that out of obligation. So what I'm advocating is, not stopping to go to church, but what I'm advocating is being vulnerable and genuine with him. And being real, because he sees your heart anyway.
And don't you want to have like a real relationship with Daddy God? Like sometimes, when my husband gets on my nerves, and I'm like, Daddy God, I'm reporting your son. I'm reporting your son. If you don't talk to him, something's going to happen.
That's funny.
I'm reporting your son to you. Yes. I report.
And isn't that a safe place to report? Isn't that a safe place? Because if you're in the wrong, you're running to your father. If you're in the right, he'll comfort you.
Exactly.
And when you come back, and your partner will equally go to him,
Yeah,
and talk to him. So it's the safest place. There's no worry of gossip or what will he think of me. It's safe.
and like I mentioned before, the Real Daddy God show, the key scripture is 2 Corinthians 6:18. It says, I will be a true father to you, and you will be my beloved sons and daughters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beloved.
Yeah, beloved sons and daughters.
Beloved. Wow.
You will be my beloved sons and daughters. So what he's looking for is a true, honest, genuine relationship. If it means effing, you are allowed to effing in Daddy God's present. But because we got to go now. But because we've been trained, especially those of us from Africa, we've been trained about being respectful towards our elders. So, you dare not raise your voice towards your elders. But Daddy God can take it. He'd rather you be real than to begin to open the Bible and quote and do the, what do you call it, that fake stuff. He'd rather that you be real.
Be real.
He can take the effing him is not going to sever the relationship. It's not going to crumble. It's we that we crumble.
I absolutely agree with that, because sometimes we tend to relate to God
The way
based on the male dominant relationship we had in our childhood.
Say that again.
We tend to relate to God in the same manner that we related with the dominant male in our childhood. So for example, if you had a father, an uncle, a grandfather who was very aggressive, who didn't allow you to speak your mind, who would just tell you what to do and not tolerate anything from you and be very harsh, then psychologically we're likely to relate to God the same way. I can't tell, I just have to say yes to God, even though I'm tired, I have to do it. So it's like you keep the same mind, because that's what you relate to God the Father as. If the Father was absent and you have that bitterness, you're likely to relate to God with that. But thank God for counseling and intervention and self-reflection. And when you then know that, then you can work around that and turn that around for good and actually relate to him as him. So it doesn't matter if you were raised in a typical African home and your parents were strict and they didn't allow you maybe to freely speak your mind, or sometimes say, no, I don't want to do that, I'd rather do it later. If you didn't have that freedom, that doesn't mean you have to carry that through with God. He's loving. He's open. He's free. I mean, if I'm upset and I'm frustrated, oh my God, there's a point I say, God, I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you because I can break, but you don't. So why did this fail? So I'm mad at you. And God looked at me and smiled. I felt a smile. That, he's like, good patience. You're actually learning to be yourself around me.
Wow.
I'm not a scary figure sitting on a throne with a scepter waiting to zap you anytime you're disrespectful or you're rude. I am your father. I made you. I know when you're pissed off. I can handle it. I designed you. So be real with me. So at that point, I'm very real with God. If I'm frustrated, I say I'm frustrated. If I'm happy, I say I'm happy. And it's so freeing to be with him that way.
Perfect love drives away all the fear.
That's it. There's no fear now.
That's what his love does. It drives away all the fears. And like I said, the Real Daddy God Show, we're learning to be fathered by him, because every one of us have had different backgrounds, different childhood, and especially those of us who may not have grown up without a daddy. Even for those who've had a daddy, they may have been emotionally absent, so you don't really know how to connect with. Yeah, you're damaged. You don't really know how to connect with daddy except what you've been taught religious. Make sure you read your Bible, make sure you pray, or they say you must pray every day 1 hour, you must do this, but that's not what it's like with that. The real Daddy God is very, very understanding. Yes. Very, very understanding. And I keep on saying that because we got to go now. We almost got to go.
It's hard to go.
I know, right? There's this film that I've been watching on Netflix, and it's called Designated Survivor. Wow. And it's about this guy he was governor, I think, of education, and there was a bombing, and so the president in the film got killed with all the stuff in the capital, and so he had to be sworn in. He just had to be sworn in, and so he was like a personality. He was called to be a personality. There was a crisis, there was a bombing, the president had died, and so he was sworn in with his just like that in his a t-shirt and jeans.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very, very. I would encourage you to watch.
Wow.
It's a series. So he was sworn in to be the president. So he took on this, and there's something that just draws me to, even though I finished watching this series, I've gone to rewatch because of I see Daddy God in this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, he's so kind, so considerate.
Wow.
It's not, and this film is not the typical like sexual, the dirty. There's only a brief scene, but it's so concentrated on this personality that is caring. That he's caring, he's considerate. I'm like, man,
Wow.
Daddy G.
Wow.
Yeah, Designated Survivor. That's the name of the, anyway. So,
Well, that's amazing.
yeah,
I need to watch that.
yeah. So, thank you so much, people, for spending this afternoon with us. It's almost been 1.5 hours.
Wow.
This is a real Daddy God show,
Yeah,
with
that's
this
it. Real Daddy
amazing guest, Queen Patty, who's been in the classroom with Daddy G and teaching a whole lot of lessons through her marriage, divorce, single motherhood, work, and a whole lot more. And so we would run it up next week. Next week we'll do the part 2.
Yeah.
You be to go?
I'll come back.
We'll do the part 2, and I hope you've been encouraged. For all of you out there, please share. If you know anybody who's a single mother, who's been divorced, who's been out of work, has been through self-confidence issues, just share so that somebody can be enlightened and be encouraged, and by this amazing woman, Daddy G. I was saying to her that, are you sure you're not the last born of Daddy G?
You never know. You never know. I'm the last one.
So thank you so much for joining us live.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know who I am. Thank you. I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. Oh, yeah. Holy. I am so rich. I am beautiful. I know who I am. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. Oh, I'm a wonder.
Yeah.
See your glory. I know who I am. See his glory. I know who I am. Woo! See his glory. I know who I am.
Take a look at me, I'm a wonder.
See his glory. I know who I am. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. I know who I am. Oh. Do you know who you are? I know who I am. I know who I am. We're gonna do it again. Woo! We're gonna do it again. Let's go now.
You're partying with us. Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on. We are a chosen generation. All for the show is excellent. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who I am.
We are a chosen generation.
We are a chosen generation. For the show is excellent. All I require for life, He has given me. I know who I am. Who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. Woo! 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 We are a chosen generation. All of the show is excellent. All I require of God is given me. I know who I am. Woo! We are a chosen generation. All of the show is excellent. All I require of life, God has given me. I know who I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. Oh, 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 oh. I know who I am. Oh, oh, oh. I know who I am. Oh, one more time. Oh, I know who I am. I am holy. I am holy. I am righteous. Oh, I am so rich. I am beautiful. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. Walking in power. I'm walking in miracles.
This will be a good music video.
I know. I know who I am. Ooh. You see His glory. I know who I am. Wonder. See His glory.
Are you ready for Shaku? Shaku? In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Shaku, Shaku, Shaku. Hey!
Oh, 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 oh. I know who I am. Oh, oh, oh. Defeat you, he may kick you, but you should know who you are.
That's right.
If God be for you, who can be against you? Let's do this one more time. Let's do this one more time. Let's do it to the glory of his name. Come on now.
Come on.
Come on now. This is the last time. We are a chosen generation, called to show his excellence. All I require of life, God has given me. I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We are a chosen generation, called to show his excellence. All I require of life, God has given me. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What he says I am. Where he says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. Where he says I am. Where he says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. Come on, dance for the Lord. We are a chosen generation, called to show his excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who I am. How many of you are a chosen generation? We are a chosen generation, called to show his excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who I am. Who God says I am. Where he says I am. Where he says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What he says I am. Where he says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. Walking miracles, I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. Oh, 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 I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. I am holy. I am righteous. Oh, I am so rich. I am beautiful. Favor. I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracles. I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm a wonder. See his glory. I know who I am. Look at me, I'm a wonder. See His glory. I know who I am. Me, I'm a wonder. Woo! See His glory. I know who I am. Take me, I'm a wonder. Doesn't matter what you see now. What? See His glory. I know who I am. Oh, 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 I know who I am. Oh, 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 I know who I am. Oh. Do you know who you are? Oh, 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 I know who I am. Oh, 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 I know who I am. Oh, 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 I know who I am. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Queen Patty. Bye. Thank you. See you next week with part 2. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Mwah.